Hey, what's going on? What's up, Pudgy? On a little early, so I don't know who would jump in here, but dropped a link in the Discord, just dropped a post on Instagram, so maybe some people would join us. I didn't even think I would stream tonight, but I went for a bike ride, went down to a friend's birthday party in the valley, and it was going to rain, so I decided I'd head back home, and I'm like, might as well jump on. I have to work at I have to be up at 6 a.m. tomorrow, which for me is really early. I don't get up early, as I always say. You know, I usually get up between 8 and 8:30 if I don't have a shoot. So a couple hours early is early for me. So yeah, so probably a short one. Just jump on, say what's up, since I did get home earlier than I thought. Let me know how the mic sounds. It's my first time really testing it on the live stream. As if you guys jumped in on Tuesday, I was using it, but not under ideal situation that I had figured out yet. Uh, and then, yeah, also on Tuesday, I just wanted to say for anyone who was watching, like, I read everyone's comments. It was just like, I felt like the chat was going, or the conversation was going so well that even though some of the comments were hilarious or some made good sense, made good points, I didn't want to cut off Mike and Albert when they were telling a story, so some kind of went by the wayside. I know I didn't say what's up to everybody, which I like to do, everyone who chimes in, but I felt like it was worthwhile. And the chat kind of quieted down at first. I'm like, oh, is no one interested because we're not reacting? But as Large had kind of said, he was like, no, I think people were just listening to what they had to say about their trip. So hopefully that's the case. But either way, yeah, just when you have a guest, obviously you're going to pay less attention to every single comment, and That's how it goes. But I thought that was a fun conversation. So um, I hope those of you who hung in there, I hope you enjoyed it. So what's up, Grand Subject? Yeah, everything is going well. What's up, Dylan? Um, it was interesting. So my ride tonight, I went down into the Cuyahoga Valley. That's where we're meeting. Actually, the same place we went last night, which I haven't been forever. So of course, I have 2 nights there in a row. But I do a real roundabout way into the Cuyahoga Valley most of the time, where the bars actually are in the Cuyahoga Valley on the border of the park. So it took me 20 minutes to get down there, and it's about 6 miles, but it's mostly downhill. But I go roundabout to avoid the street that, if you watch the video that came out today from last night's ride, I avoid that road, especially when I'm alone, just because there's no shoulder, and cars, as you saw, give you no space, and everyone's just racing to that same red light. It's stupid, but it's the way it is. So go out of my way to get there and enjoy my ride a little bit more. And so, yeah, 6 miles, 20 minutes to get down there because, like I said, mostly downhill. On the way back, I decided to take the cut we take sometimes. We took it last night too, but it was dark, so I didn't put it in the video. But it's an old abandoned road that climbs out of the valley. Dylan, I know you've done the other one that goes behind this old development. Um, and this is on the other side of that road we ride. But it's the same elevation, but this one's even gnarlier because the one you rode, Dylan, and we rode on the industrial gravel ride is like a service road that I think is still active, so they maintain it to some degree. But the one I rode last night and rode back today is a road that used to have houses on it, but I think going back to like the 20s through maybe the 40s or 50s. So it's been abandoned and it's washed out. So it's steeper and the terrain is even gnarlier. If you guys are ever back up here, we have to ride it because it's just a super cool gravel climb. So coming back to the studio for the stream was only 2 miles going back on that abandoned road, but also took me 20 minutes. So it was just kind of interesting to me, a 40-minute round trip to do the ride I did tonight. And it was even amount of time, even though it was 6 miles into the valley the way I went and 2 miles out. So it just shows how steep and what the climb is like, that it drops your time that much to do 1/3 of the mileage. But oh, thanks for that subject. Yeah, this is the road. What do they call it? This is like it's like the podcast. No, this is the pod mic. Yeah. So it's intentionally tuned for vocals. The problem I had doing the stream using the two different mics is one was powered, and I started to say it at the beginning that I'm like, I'm wasting time when I have two guests here. But so the mic that they were speaking into is a shotgun mic that was powered, and this one's not powered, so the levels are just so different between the two. And I have not figured out how to have my audio interface adjust the levels between the two, which should be possible, but I don't see where the input would be. But yeah. Oh, don't. You'll be in Akron a couple times. Yeah, I would liken it more to, well, you guys rode up Old AP out of the Cuyahoga Valley, totally different part of town over by East Rim. But the climb is a lot more like that than it is like the one we did on the industrial gravel ride. So, yeah, grand subject. It's really interesting. Someone just commented, I was just answering right before I went live about like the train tracks. And so the beginning of that video, and also Dylan and a couple of you guys did this on the industrial gravel ride, but you're going through the little Cuyahoga Valley over there where we're riding those tracks. And there used to be, every train company had their own tracks, they didn't share. So, now it's really just CSX. And then there's a line that is kept maintained, which connects into the valley. And it's basically where they would bring like a tourist train in or whatever that may be. But like the valley is just tourist. It's not a true, active, used to be the Cuyahoga Valley. There used to be a true like freight train that went through there. There isn't. But so they maintain a second line that connects everything back into the infrastructure. But there were 3 other companies that ran through there. But since it's the little Cuyahoga Valley, it's a pinch point. So we're riding along some of the abandoned tracks that no one uses anymore. And it makes a great route, and it goes out to Goodyear. And they're farther out, they're starting to develop it into bike trail. But that section through there, I think, would be at least a decade down the road before they do anything with it. But yeah, so for now, it's us and the homeless, and it's really fun to ride around there. It's just a strange part of town that used to be really bustling, and there used to be stuff down there, and now it's just the back, you know, it's just right outside of downtown, and it's like pretty much forgotten about. So, but yeah, so that yeah, the newest vid was last night. So got up and just put that together. Simple video to put together because I just caught little clips while we were out riding. But yeah, really cool route that Large came up with. We left the bike shop, kind of rode away from the valley, through the Little Cuyahoga Valley, but away from the main part of the valley, which is the Cuyahoga Valley. So, uh, and then kind of looped around and then took the what we call the Route 8 gravel, which I rode with. That's how we started the industrial gravel ride, and I've ridden it with a couple of other of you guys. Rusty rode out there with us. Took that back into Cuyahoga Falls, and then we went into the valley, climbed up behind Timber Top that we did on the industrial gravel ride, and then bombed down Portage Trail. So I do want to get footage of climbing this climb I was just talking about. The thing is, it's like when you're climbing a climb like that, you're working so hard, and since the footing isn't that good, you kind of need to have both hands on the bar. So I think I need to either like, which I don't do as much anymore because I always use like the mouth mount, but actually mount the GoPro to like my handlebars and like just let it run as we climb out of this section. There's also a really cool part on that climb where there's power lines that run about halfway up it, and so it's cleared. And when you get there, if you look across to your right, you could see all of downtown Akron, just the tall buildings, but tall for our city. But the cool thing is like you see nothing else, so it's just kind of all green and trees, and then like the downtown skyline. I need to also stop and take a photo of that one day. Usually, whenever I'm climbing that, I'm just like kind of putting in a pretty good effort, or it's night. But if I ever do a day climb, I need to like have my camera on me and stop and take a photo because it would be like a perspective on Akron that I would imagine there's almost no photos of. So yeah. The other thing with this mic I want to test is I need to listen back to one of the live streams. It's supposed to have a built-in pop filter to keep the pollutants, as they call them, from being too loud. Whenever I do a voiceover for one of my videos, I actually use one of these guys, which really cuts down on that. For live streams, though, it's like you have a mic like this and it looks kind of cool, so I don't want to like completely be covering it up, but it did come with a windscreen too. But the same thing with that is, it's this big ugly foam piece when you have like this really cool looking mic. So that's the other reason with like why I have it pointed this way, trying to talk across it instead of into it. And so I'm hoping that between the pop filter and not talking directly into it, it's a little less like, because that's really annoying to listen to, I know, but yeah. And then so like I said, jumping on early because tomorrow I have to run down to downtown Akron. I have this like it's like a Summit Education Initiative like grant funded thing that I'm going to photograph, but it doesn't take very long. But I have a decent amount of work to do tomorrow, and I was supposed to go for a ride with Micah. Now it's looking like tomorrow's going to be a complete washout, so we'll see. But so I wanted to fit in that ride and get all my work done before the weekend because the weekend's looking pretty decent, and I would like to get some decent miles in. So it does sound good until I try and make it pop. Good. Yeah, the mic. Yeah, because Saturday and Sunday, nothing big planned, but I'd like to get some decent rides in. And then next weekend is the camp out with cyclotherapy and Pudgy, and I believe Dylan is going. I just ended up booking a um, hip camp in Bell Fountain. So I think what our plan is going to be is to drive to Bell Fountain, ride our bikes down to John Bryan, meet up with everyone who's meeting up, and then see what everyone's doing on Sunday. Like maybe ride back to Springfield, get breakfast or lunch, depending on what time you guys get moving, and then go back to the trail and ride back up and spend the night at this hip camp outside of Bell Fountain. So this Saturday has spotty rain in the forecast, but not. It doesn't look like a washout. It looks like showers. So if it's in the 60s, that won't stop me from getting a long ride. And then next week, I think what we do for the camp out is going to be very dependent on how much of the mountain biking trails we're able to ride, because it sounds like they do shut them down pretty quick if it's muddy. And it sounds like what I read on John Bryan's website is that if it's been raining, they'll stay wet for a long time. I know Pudgy, you and Dylan, you'd probably know better than me, but that's what the website information said. So, hey, what's up, Oren? How's it going? Oh, Mikey said, when's the 2022 industrial gravel ride happening? I was just thinking about this last night and today, because last night we were doing a lot of the route that was last year's industrial gravel route. I know we had talked on the stream about a number of other ideas, like camping, making a different route. One thing I was thinking, because my schedule this spring and spring, I always think of June as summer, but through June is pretty busy between between just work and like some of the cycling stuff I've already planned, like meeting up with Pudgy and everyone next week. And then we want to do the Swift camp out, which is late June. That will be summer. But just having a number of things already on the schedule, I was almost thinking about just using the route from last year, picking a day and being like doing a little less like organizing, just being like same thing, but like being true to the idea that like this is the rollout time. Have it in your GPX on your computer, so you could just do it if you want to. And we kind of do it like a much more simple thing, and that just that's just what I was thinking of last night. So, and then I decided to stream, so I didn't finish this. But I'm thinking I might just pick a Sunday and pick a time and be like just rolling out for whoever wants to show up, and just use the route again. And then maybe later in the summer, and I know now with the Discord, we've all been talking about planning other kinds of rides and stuff like that. So maybe for the late spring one, just to keep the tradition going, I just keep the same thing, and whoever wants to show up and do it, we do it. But that's about it. Oh, so yeah, Pudgy was saying, or Dylan said, slowest drying trails in Ohio about John Bryan. And Pudgy said, not the best drainage. They close up if they're wet. Yeah. So, hey, what's up, Raymond? How's it going? So, yeah, I would like to keep that tradition alive as an early or a late spring ride, I guess. But I think just keep it really simple this year just because that's just the way my schedule's looking, unfortunately. I'm guessing you guys could probably block seize the day as well. But well, Pudgy, so like not quite like I'm actually thinking more like the way Nutmeg was for the actual day of the ride, where it's just like, well, I guess they had a floating rollout time, but we would have like I could say like rollout time is 10, and then that's kind of the plan. Like most of us would try and roll out at the same time together, but you know, I have the focus. So the AF's not working still, but it's a tiny bit off and it's driving me crazy. See if I can get that. No, I went the wrong direction. See if that does it. Yeah, it's a little better. Now the mic's a little out of focus and I'm in focus. Hey, what's up, JMZ? Yeah. Yeah, JMZ came out, and again, it doesn't mean like that people couldn't come out the night before and like that we couldn't make any plans. I would try and find a night where I had Saturday night free and Sunday free, but yeah, just keep it kind of easy. But hey, what's up, Rick? Yeah, I don't. I should look at my calendar right now. The other thing is I've wanted to do this opening at the studio, and that's kind of taken up some of my time. But maybe, well, we'd probably end up partying that pretty that night. So maybe I don't. And I was thinking of Friday for that. Let me see if I even have a weekend that I could make this happen on. I also need to look up Memorial Day because I think we're going to try and Joy Machines, the bike shop up in Cleveland, is doing a trip out to Pymatuning. No, to Punderson State Park. And I don't think we would ride out with them, but I think me and Aaron and Large Marge and Funny Brad were talking about maybe meeting them out at Punderson and then riding back to Cleveland with the Joy Machines ride and then back down to Akron. When is Memorial Day? Is that the weekend of the 28th? See if the calendar on my... No, it doesn't have... Hey, what's up, Musgrave? Memorial Day 2022. May 30th, Monday, May 30th. Yeah, so they're talking about rolling out on Sunday the 29th, coming back on the 30th. What did we do last year? Was last year like the... Was last year in the third week of June? And then, yeah, because we had that crazy hot weather for the industrial gravel ride last year when, well, unseasonably, it was like 85 and humid for the whole thing, which I think is a reason a lot of people didn't finish. I think a lot of people like JMZ and stuff would have finished that ride if it wasn't so hot. But, oh, did I freeze? Let me check my other stuff. Huh. It's showing it's working fine now, so. Yeah, before I went live, when the countdown was happening, the bit rate was jumping up and down like crazy, so. Yeah, what about June 19th? For anyone who's here who would be into it, look up June 19th on your calendar so that people. The mic volume's a little low. It's showing me bouncing into the yellow. Let me turn it down on the computer, the software, and turn it up on the actual input. Try and rebalance it so I don't distort. But I think that's the other thing I need to get used to. With the shotgun mic, I could move around more. With this mic, I need to keep pretty close to it. But I need a run test. I normally wouldn't just hook something like this up and then just like throw caution to the wind. But, you know. Oh, Rick, was it like 90? But yeah. Oh, the 19th is Father's Day, Large. My family's not giant on celebrating holidays, like outside of birthdays and Christmas, but the 26th, I know we're already wanting to do the Swift camp out, so that won't work. What about the 12th instead then? I think we avoid putting it on Father's Day. I don't think that's a good idea just cuz I don't want it to limit someone who's like I would come, but it's Father's Day and we're going to do dinner or brunch or something. I do on the 11th, I have a wedding. God. Well, I could still make that happen. Well, that means I wouldn't be around though Saturday night if anyone did come into town to hang out. Yeah, man, if I don't do that Father's Day one, I'm pushing it way out. Or would have to push it way up to like the 22nd. So, which is not enough time to plan for something. Maybe it just does have to be the 19th. And if people can't make it, it's early. Like I said, we're talking about doing other stuff anyways this summer. I know more people want to do some trips. And I even saw in the fall, like Rick talking about the Philly thing. I was thinking that'd be a cool thing for anyone who wanted to get out that way. I'm going to Detroit one weekend, try and ride when I'm up there with William LeBron and stuff like that, and anyone else who wanted to join up. I was thinking how much I would love to get out to Minneapolis since so many people on the channel are uh, from there. But see Robin, but God, there's like probably 10 people who generally tune into the live streams and comment on the channel that are from out that way. But oh, what's up, Chris? Well, there, yeah. Sounds really good in your car. Neighborhood loves when I'm laying down. Nice. Laughing at all these comments. Yeah, it's funny how like you feel like in the late winter, early spring, you start making all these plans, and you feel like summer's going to be so much time, and then all of a sudden I start looking at my calendar with like you know I do my big Fourth of July trip every year, and then I'm looking at August, and I already have two of the weekends in August booked. Uh, one of the weeks in September already booked. Yeah, two of them in July. June and May are pretty much already back for me. Like I was saying, I think I was saying this in one of the videos, or I was talking about how I didn't stream last week. I'm like, it's a good thing, I'm a freelancer, so if I'm busy, it means I'm making money, and it's going to make the money so I could enjoy some of the trips and not be paranoid about them this year or worrying about the money situation. But yeah, just a lot going on. So it's like NPR for bike nerds. Rick said if it was Mother's Day, there would be trouble. I think that's, what is funny? Even like, I have two parents that are still together and I love them both very much. But yeah, it does always seem like Mother's Day is a bigger holiday than Father's Day, probably just because dads are like, yeah, whatever. You've got something else planned, no big deal. you know, I know that's stereotyping and there's situations that are, no two situations are alike, but Pudgy, my dad's dead, so I'm free that day. Gotcha. What are the tumbleweed steel bars? I'll have to pull those up here in a minute. I haven't pulled up anyone's stuff for a while, obviously, because the way things have been going. But losing out on about $10 of super chats, though. yeah. yeah. Make it 30 when Malk is trying to send them. Yeah. By not streaming all the time, the I need to be streaming all the time so whenever traveling through comes in and drops that $20, you know what I mean? That's what pays the bills around here. But Chris said, "Dads are easy, just beer and relax." Speaking as a father of triplets. Oh wow, I didn't know you had triplets, Chris. I could only imagine. Uh, I grew up. There were triplets in my neighborhood that I grew up with. And I yeah, I can only imagine the work that is. Yeah. Raymond said, "Speaking as a father, every day is Father's Day." So, yeah, it's funny because obviously I'm to the age where people who are I'm hanging out with are there's a lot of fathers and people, but it's funny. I still only view it from the perspective of a son because I don't have kids. I haven't thought about Father's Day for fathers. I was only thinking about Father's Day in terms of who needs to do something for their father. So yeah, if you're a dad, you have to consider are the kids as your as your wife, and the kid's going to do something for you. So that's an issue that as somebody who doesn't have kids, I don't think about. Oh, Chris, your triplets are 6, almost 7. Wow. Pudgy was explaining the tumbleweeds there. Yeah. Rick. That's true, Pudgy, and that's a lot. I think a lot of people talk about that. The idea of our like, did I say Pudgy? I meant Lanky. He said they could do something for you by letting you ride your bike, and I think that was a big deal with some of my friends. Like Father's Day, it's been like, yeah, you can go and do what you want on Father's Day, and that's kind of your benefit of the Father's Day, right? Hi, what's up, Jim? Jim said he's picking up his new Trek FS6. I know I'm not even familiar with that bike at all, to be honest. Uh, I follow Truck's pro racing stuff, but I don't actually follow truck bikes that much. Like, even though I always say I have 3 of them, but they're all old. Dead Dad's Club. Huh. Fitness bike. That's an interesting category. I mean, it's all marketing terms, but I've never actually heard that term, fitness bike. How wide of tires can you fit on this thing? Max tire is 35 without fenders. Huh, so it's almost like a flat bar road bike, or what we used to call hybrids, right? You know. So when they say, is fitness bike the new term for what you would call a hybrid bike now? What's up, Garth? Garth said he has an FX7, but it was a hybrid you turned into a gravel bike. Yeah, I guess, I mean, really, you put drops on it, then it's a gravel bike now, right? Just sounds better than hybrid. I think hybrid is like a lot of things in life where it's the connotation has become negative. So I'm guessing the marketing people are like, you have to change the name. But like Jay Dandy was saying when he was on with his bike, um, it was technically a hybrid when they sold it. He put drops on it, rebuilt it, and it's his, gravel fast bike. So stoked on spokes. What's up? He says every bike is a fitness bike. Exactly. I mean, but yeah, we all know marketing people, and Trek is a major corporation, so probably has the best marketing people who workshop that name for a long time. Raymond said it's a dad bike. Yeah, I mean, that's not a negative thing. It looks like it's specced out pretty well, though. I'm guessing it, you know, so lightweight carbon, you know, Shimano drivetrain, probably a little overgeared, but it looks like they have a big one in the back. So yeah, through axles. Yeah, it's a flat bar cross bike, right? Almost, which Terms mean nothing. Biden rides an FX, Farley said. What's up, Farley? Yeah, Gar said hybrids make perfect gravel bikes, so many options and very customizable. And I'm guessing if Trek says it fits 35s, it probably almost fits 40s too. You know, I bet or maybe even more. So I'm guessing you could probably actually spec that out with wider tires down the road if you're going to do some uh, more type gravel stuff. Biden on a rib? No way. The specialized Cirruses, if that's how you pronounce it, you sell are not that different than a proper gravel bike. Gar said Biden's bike actually looked pretty dope. Too bad he doesn't know how to ride. I've always seen the footage where he's talking like to some interviewer over his bike. I guess I haven't seen a lot of actual Biden riding footage. So, excuse me, I'm laughing at the am I dadding this right name. I like that. Speaking of new bikes, you jumped on the opportunity to get a 2022 Kona Sutra from Blimp City last week. Oh, nice. Hey, what's up, traveling through? Oh, was I looking at the 2021 model? Oh, yeah, I am. Oh, it says archived. I clicked on the first thing, of course. Let's see. Shot by. It's funny, those names are throwing me off because the names sound like Sony camera names. FX3, FX6 are actually names of Sony cameras. Let me see if I can find the new one, though. See how much they changed it. If they changed it. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, now this is just a flat bar gravel bike. 42C without fenders. So again, you could probably run like 45s. I could only run 42s on my gravel bike. So as a more vintage gravel bike. Yeah, those are that's way better. I would I wasn't going to say anything since you just bought it, but I thought being limited to 32 to 35s was a bit small. So, yeah, this is a it's funny. Do they call it? They're still calling it a fitness bike. This is a flat bar gravel bike, right? Oh, and they're showing it in the photo like a one by setup here too, with a much more reasonable. Oh, this is a much better bike than the 2021. Look at this gear. This gearing is way better. Not road gearing. It has the actual GRX on it. So yeah, long cage derailleur, 42 tooth front. Yeah, yeah, flat bar gravel bike for sure. Oh, and Gar said fits 44 and probably 47 for sure. Does it have pegs? Herb slice? Oh, don't trust my opinion on anything. No, I mean, yeah, I those specs are way better than the former version. I mean, in my opinion, way more reasonable gearing, way more reasonable tire clearance. Yeah, I just wonder why they're calling it the fitness. Why they maybe they just don't want to call it. That's where it'd be awesome if someone like Trek would just call it an all road bike. Use Jan Hein, where my Renee Hurst hat term, because that's what that is. It's a bike that you could ride on any road. It would be fast on the roads, and it'd be fast on most um, gravel roads. So, oh, it was press fit. Yeah, I guess. But even press fit, right? Like I don't want to deal with it, but that only matters if you're someone who's going to one, what, ride in a lot of super gritty stuff because you might need to change your bottom bracket. Then two, if you're someone who wants to work on your own bike, right? So I definitely like threaded bottom brackets because I'm going to change them myself. But I also ruin them because I ride in all kinds of stupid situations. So, oh, Pudgy, you're thinking of going flat bar on the Bear Claw? Dylan said the Trek marketing people have probably never heard of Jan Heine. Probably not. That's true. I Oh, that's what you're going with, Patrick. You were confusing me right there. Yeah, right, Dylan? I mean, Trek is probably large enough that there's people who work there and don't ride bikes. They're just running market research groups, right? Focus groups. So, yeah, I would totally get why Pudgy and Dylan would say press fit would ruin it for him. You know, Dylan builds, you could build anything. Pudgy's a bike mechanic, um, or yeah, has been a bike mechanic. But I also wonder if calling something a fitness bike and making a flat bar bike, they don't mind doing something a press fit because the maybe the person who's buying it they don't expect to be someone who does a lot of work on their own bikes. I don't know. I don't have any press fit bikes, so I can't like complain about them. I just know you need special stuff to deal with that, right? To get the bottom bracket in and out, you need special tools, I believe. Yeah, and when I think about it, like when I think about my vintage bikes, some of them are running like their original 1970s bottom brackets, even some of the ones I rode really hard, like my Peugeot, which is 5,000 miles deep. But that's like cup and cone style. I find the outboard bearing bottom brackets, if you just get like the cheap Shimano ones, you wear out. I wonder with the press fits, don't they usually have bigger bearings and they're more sealed? So I'm wondering if they're going to last longer. You guys would have to tell me this. I don't know. Um, but so if you do have a press fit bottom bracket, does is that probably is it something that's going to last someone who isn't blasting through puddles and dirt and all that kind of stuff a lot longer? I don't know. I feel like I'm going to do research before I ever replace the bottom bracket on my Raleigh again and buy a much higher end one just so it lasts because I don't like the idea of buying stuff that's so disposable and then you're just putting it in the landfill, and that's what I feel like the outboard bearing ones that I bought for that have been like, because I think I'm on my third bottom bracket on that bike maybe. So Dylan said special tools and a special touch for a press fit, and Pudgy said constantly creaking BB or wheel manufacturing converter. Huh. Dylan said, "Who needs to research? Just buy a Chris King." I think you're right, Dylan, but I wanted to make sure that the cost was there. But Wessa Andersona said e-bikes are the best. Um, I definitely think like there's I don't think there's anyone on this in general that well I think Rusty, but most people over here are totally supportive of e-bikes. I and I say this, thank God, don't feel I need one yet. Like, but I'm glad they exist and they're getting better. And when I do get, if I get to be a ripe old age where I could still pedal around, I will own an e-bike 100%. So yeah, I'm fully supportive of e-bikes, especially like I've said. I think the best thing is when you have two people who, you know, I like I think I've said this a million times. My mom should get an e-bike. My dad likes to ride his bike. He's been a runner his whole life. There's no way she could keep up with him. She should have an e-bike. So when they go on vacation, they're retired, and they have money. Um, she could ride with my dad. It would like change their vacations entirely. Totally supportive of e-bikes, but I don't want one right now. If someone reached out to this channel and sent me one, like say this channel was bigger a couple years down the road, I would totally take it, try it out, and all that kind of stuff. Use it the way Dustin Klein or Terry Berenson do. But yeah. Anyway, getting back on here. Rick said, "What's the proper way to say it? The 2022 Kona isn't geared for the pills? Overgeared, undergeared? Educate me." And I think Pudgy was talking about press. They don't last and are high maintenance. Chris said, talking about McCollum, bottom brackets, king or white for sure. Yeah. Oh, and then Dylan said you can service a king without taking it apart. Huh, that's interesting. I'll definitely look into that because I would like that. That's the whole point. Traveling through said he's a trike supporter. I don't want to anger Rick. He got real mad about it that night. Oh, did Wes Andersona turn out to be a troll? Man, 3 trolls tonight. We've gone a while without some serious troll attacks, so I guess we're back in business with the trolls, huh? Ah, man, I've still never seen anyone on one. I saw a lot of interesting bikes watching like different people's footage of the 5 borough ride. Um, so there's a guy here from Akron, or he's suburban, but he's local, who does some YouTube videos, and he posted some footage of the 5 borough ride, and I saw the people riding those. What do you call those things that are like you walk on them, and then but they're wheels like bikes. They have a real locomotion type thing, and then yeah, I just saw a number of interesting things out on that. No trikes though. The trike night was legendary. Was that the night too? Didn't Yonda jump in when we happened to be watching one of the trike videos, and he was like, "What the hell is going on?" Yeah, Troll Attack sounds like a bad '80s movie. Oh, you have to buy an official Chris King tool to grease a Chris King bottom bracket. Huh, interesting. Oh, Pudgy, you saw a lot of nutmeg guys out at the 5 boroughs. Yeah, recumbent, Chris. Oh, yeah. Speaking of, so talking about like more blingy type parts, I've been talking about getting clampers for the Raleigh forever because TRP spires. Well, controversial. I'm not a fan of. I don't like my spires. They're just like Yonda said. They're just worn out. Otis said they're just worn out. But did you guys see the new ones that Velo Orange is carrying from Japan now? Pathless Pedaled had them on the what was that? The PLA he reviewed. I can't remember. He reviewed that like Velo Orange, kind of like a mountain bike type bike, and it had these brakes on them. And so we were looking them up in the shop last night, and um, Dirty River, and Dirty River is a Velo Orange dealer, and I think these were $360 for a set, and you get the cables, you get the housings with them. Let me know what else, and they come in a number of anodized colors. So I was thinking of just trying these out to be, well, one, Bell Orange said Otis said that he read their article and they said they've extensively tested them, and they said I think almost the same thing that Russ on Pathless Pedaled said, that they're not clamper level, but they're close. And then so if what are clampers 250 a piece, so you're looking at 500 for a set. So, you know, a good 120, $140 cheaper, and stuff like that. So these are kind of interesting to me, and I thought maybe I'd try them out. I'd be curious about the adjustability and the repairability. That's one of the big selling points of clampers as well, is that they're so easy, not repair, but so easy to adjust and maintain. But these look really cool, and it'd be kind of cool to try something different. Troll Attack could be a cool band, though. Troll Attack could be the name of the next bicycle pubes build. This machine kills trolls. Dylan, oh, so you guys were talking about the brakes yet. Uh, Dylan said curious, but definitely not going to get them. Yeah, what is the name of them? They just changed the layout of Instagram on the web. It used to have the description next. Oh, here we go. We are pleased to announce that Velo Orange is the official importer of Growtac equal mechanical disc brakes. Excellent modulation. Yeah, I wonder what they weigh compared to clampers too. I wonder if they're lighter, because like Dylan was talking about how heavy clampers are. They sold out a bunch of the colors like instantly. Um, they're really cool looking brakes though, right? That's not the important thing. How they work is the most important thing. But look at that printed right on the side here, where this little Phillips uh, screw head is. Read user's manual. Yeah, look at the blue on the blue bike. That's kind of sweet. Otis was trying to convince me to get the blue ones, but Rick, speaking of seeing weird things, I saw a guy carrying his pet raccoon on a leash at the park tonight. Yeah, that's some weird shit. Dylan said someone buy him and let me ride their bike. So Otis was saying, he was like, I could probably get you a discount if you bought them and tried them out. To me, so that's one of the motivations for me. Maybe trying them out, something different too, you know. And like I said, I mean, if you include the cables and the housings, like what, you're coming in $150 cheaper than clampers, right? Cool thing about Paul's though, they are American made. These are also shipped over from Japan. Like, I mean, not that I have a huge problem with that. All my group sets are made in Japan, but oh, Pudgy was saying it's 300 MSRP on clampers, so saving even more. Yeah, we're almost getting down to, I mean, close to half the cost of setting up clampers, right? Patrick said Troll Attack could be a faux 70s monster movie directed by Robert Rodriguez. And Dylan said clampers may be the heaviest brakes ever. Yeah, let's go over to the website and see what the let's, I'm not a weight weenie at all, so it doesn't really matter to me, but you know, why not at least see what the difference is? Can I get to the, where do you have to go to? It's not giving me like a clickable. Instagram, as you guys probably know on browser, is pretty horrible. Jump over to the link in bio. Well, I'm trying to jump to the bio, but I'll just type it in. I'll just go to the web. I don't need to do it like this. I am an internet user who knows how to use the internet. I need post mount, which are $40 more. Right, Large? I need post mount on the rally. Let's see how many they're sold out of now. They're sold out of everything now. Oh, 17 left in the gray. And then Otis is trying to convince me on the blue. I don't think I'm feeling the blue. I mean, the rally is red, white, and blue, but it's mostly red. He kept saying tricolor a lot. He was also pretty drunk. No blacks. No silvers. I kind of like the gray. You know, I have a black fork. The rear end of the bike is white and red. I could also use the very berry. Nah, that red wouldn't work. That's like a... I don't like the gold. I don't like anything gold. I've never been a fan of gold. Like I don't like gold jewelry. It says someone who just built up a real silvery gold 90s mountain bike. But, yeah. $138 grams. So what is a weight per caliber? 138 grams. So let's look up Paul Clampers. That doesn't sound exactly light either, right? We need post mount. This says flat mount. $211 grams. So 422 versus the other one was 138. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't make the decision on the brakes based on weight at all. Like it's not a huge issue to me, but it is a pretty considerable difference. Oh, wow. They actually have the pathless pedaled video on their website. That's interesting. That's cool. Good for us. Let me get back into the chat here. I skipped a bunch. Pudgy was saying it'd be worth scooping them up, a setup just for the video views where they're topical. I mean, that's true. I really like the Surly corner bars, but being one of the, besides Russ, one of the earlier, like, people who had preview models, I mean, that video still gets views talking about the Surly corner bars because I had it out before anyone besides not that Russ is an insider, but people send him stuff. So the only thing is who puts a Phillips head on modern bike part? Hey, we all have Phillips, though. Your multi-tool has a Phillips, right? Pudgy said blue would look good on the Bear Claw. Tom Waits is big in Japan. Garth is living in Chico now, so he's biased, but very tempting. Yeah. Dylan said, clampers are beyond weight weenie. Just holding them in their hand is like, whoa. Yeah. I remember when you were on, Dylan, and I didn't really think about clampers in that way. I really was like excited about the adjustability and the serviceability of clampers. And you were like, no. I was like, how heavy could brakes be? And you were like, they're heavy. They're really heavy. Traveling Through said he likes when Russ Straight asked him, why are they so expensive? Yeah. USA made small and like when you see like the, Paul manufacturing facility, it's like, yeah, they're literally doing everything, CNCing everything, At that moment, Russ became a YouTube commenter. Rick asked if I saw that there's another Jack the Bike Rack delay. Yeah, I just got my email. 3 more months. So Jack the Rack, where they're manufacturing the spacers, is in uh, trying to think of the province in China because I just read the email, but it's in total lockdown. So nothing's running in that part of China. It's frustrating because the reason I ordered, we were supposed to get them by late March originally, which you can't get mad at a company because of COVID, situations. But it's a bummer. The reason I ordered a Jack the Rack was for my summer touring to keep my zeitgeist lifted up so I could strap a couple things to the top of it when we were touring. But it's the way it goes. It's a weird world now. But that's a total bummer, Rick. Yeah. Terry's, when Terry, I know you watch his live streams too, has been planning his trips. That's exactly how he plans to use his Jack the Rack. And I'm like, I'm going to have one of those before I start touring for the summer too. And now it looks like I'm not, but, that's how it goes. Yeah, I mean, that province in China, they're not letting people leave their apartment buildings. It's crazy. Um, yeah, it's really bad. Shenzhen. I don't need to butcher Chinese for everyone, but yeah. Hey, what's up, Jason Gates? How's it going? Traveling through said the Jack is super efficient, can't handle the weight. Yeah, Patrick. So I didn't realize that. I thought the grow tax were super expensive, but they're not because it's for the set. So Large actually told me that last night when we were riding. I was like, that's way too pricey. But yeah, it's 3 9. And this I'm looking at post mount. I think isn't flat mount a little more common now? I think it is. I don't know. You guys would know better than me. But yeah, it's for the set, and it comes with. So here's what's included in the box: two post mount brake calipers, two road brake cables, two mountain bike brake cables, two compressionless housings, two non-compressionless housing. It says bunch of housing end caps, mounting hardware for the rear brake. So you're pretty much getting everything you need unless you need to do spacers and all that kind of stuff. So when you factor that in, that's money as well. That makes it a lot cheaper than clampers. But again, clampers are the gold standard if you're not talking about weight. Flathead is the worst thing in the world. Garth, don't even talk to me about flatheads. I also have a 1920s building, so every standard, old school standard of stuff I need to do to deal with this place. Pudgy was saying Jack the Rack apparently out of the loop. Pathless Pedaled reviewed a early model for the Kickstarter, and Terry Berenson has one as well. It's a cantilevered front rack that only hooks onto your handlebars. It doesn't support a ton of weight, but to me, the idea was like it's almost like those Caradice bike racks for your saddle, but for the front of your bike. Where it's just a cantilevered thing that just gives you a little extra support. What bike? I would be putting it on the Rally, but the cool thing about Jack the Rack is it's super easy to switch between bikes, which was one of the big selling points for me as well. I've even intentionally on the new Marin um, had the cables and the housings run extra long so the Jack the Rack could fit on there. I think it would fit on my winter bike with the Surly corner bars, so it's just very versatile. So Patrick said, hopefully Jack arrives in time for your fall camping in Arizona. That's what it's sounding like we're going to get him. So I could pull up the Jack the Rack. Um, I could just go into my emails and find the last newsletter. I think I archived them so Pudgy could see it, or anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about. there's got to. Oh, I don't think they're using the actual Kickstarter campaign page anymore. Oh, here we go. See if there's more. Might be better off just Googling it actually at this point. Yeah, probably just better off Googling it. Oh, here we go. Campaign. That's what I'm looking for. This gift type thing should give a good idea of what it is. Yeah, so just this kind of cantilevered rack that just hooks over the bars. And they sold a bunch of extras that you could buy, like different like straps for the platform and all that. But there we go. Kind of give it a better. What's up, Jay Dandy? He said, "Hey, where are those fancy new brakes made? I need a map." Yeah, I didn't realize. So talking about compressionless housing, I thought you only needed to use compressionless housing for index shifting, but Otis was telling me last night when it comes to disc brakes that you should run compressionless housing, and that he actually did run compressionless housing on my Raleigh for the brakes. Not that it matters because TRP spires are junk, but yeah. So, but like so on a vintage bike, you don't need to spend the money on compressionless housing because you're friction shifting and your brakes are shit anyways. But yeah, yeah. So the thing with Jack the Rack, anyways, for me was the fact that it can easily be swapped between bikes, and then just a little support for my carrot ice bag, and mostly my carrot ice bags don't my Swift calves, they don't need the support. I just want to be able to put more stuff on top of them, like my chair, my camp chair, which I won't ride without ever again. So Dylan coming through with the answers right there because I wouldn't have known. So Rick was asking why would you use housing that's compression, and Dylan said because it's just so much more flexible. So if you need to route something, tighter spaces, you need compression housing. So yeah, and Patrick, we so Patrick was talking about the TRP spires, and they've either updated them or spires just wear out. So like Otis was saying, if we take mine back apart and Loctite all the threads, he believes they would actually work pretty well again. So yeah, with the spires, I think they work well new and they wear out. So like I was saying, I was joking in the Discord with Pudgy, but our friend Mike Maris, when we went to Jake's Rocks, he had just adjusted his spires, had them adjusted beforehand. When we got out there, his levers were going almost all the way to the bars, which is something that happens to mine under heavy braking too. But yeah, and his is what salsa large would know. I never remember the salsa lineup. So, but it's not that old of a bike. So I don't think his spires are that old, but it's still at least it's older than your Richie, Patrick. So maybe they have changed them, and maybe they haven't, and they just happen to wear out a lot. So Patrick is a spire whisperer. No, yeah, I like mine. Though, so for reference too, my Raleigh is a 2014, and they're the original brakes. So it's not like they haven't. And I have put almost 20,000 miles on the bike myself, and that's not including what Otis had put on it before I owned it, because I've only owned it for what 3 or 4 years. So yeah, I talk a lot of shit about them, but chances are they've been heavily used, and not chances are they have been heavily used. So traveling through says he likes his clampers like he likes his women. What's that? Heavy and overpriced? But easily adjustable. What else was I looking at? Uh, let's look at some drink picks. I don't think I'm going to get into bike picks tonight. I think we'll save that because there's too many, and I am going to be signing off pretty quick. Like you guys know, I have to get up early. But what's Raymond sipping on? Lawson's Finest Liquids, Double Sunshine, Ruby Red Grapefruit. Did that say double IPA at the bottom? It does. Oh yeah, like I think you were drinking one of theirs before, and I was thinking it sure looks like they took their logo from the old Lawson's convenience store chain that used to be around here, around everywhere. Muskrat had an IPA, a West Coast 21st Amendment West Coast IPA. Rusty's drinking margs, and he wrote because his wife gives a shit about Cinco de Mayo. It's funny. Oh, and I have a Masthead IPA, the one beer I'm drinking before bed. Well, I had some beers at the birthday party I was at, obviously, but Pudgy says, so I'm grumpy about brakes that may have 30,000 miles on them. Exactly. Tim with the good timing for once. Oh, and Rick said, I went camp chair. Funny Brad is rubbing off on me. Yeah, and my sciatica. But seriously, like last year when we did Ohio to Erie, or our version of Ohio to Erie, Large and Funny Brad both had like those super lightweight camp chairs. And any chance they weren't sitting in them, I was sitting in them. So after a long day of riding, just I think we've talked about this too, but to be able to sit in a chair, because even when you can pull the picnic table over by the fire, there's still no back. And if I'm sitting, I just need support now. Like old man here, but yeah, rubbing off. Hey, speaking of Rusty, there he is. We were just showing your margarita and joking about it because your wife gives a shit about Cinco de Mayo. I posted not an anti Cinco de Mayo post on Facebook, but just I don't care what people do to have fun. Like, have fun. It's just like I said, I was in Mexico on Cinco de Mayo once, and I asked uh, a Mexican, I'm like, no one's a Mexican dude, like a local, no one's celebrating Cinco de Mayo. That's not even a thing. And he said, I think that's a thing in Mexico City, and there's a parade or something. I've since looked it up, and I do know the actual history. It is a battle, but it's not a nationwide. It's not St. Patrick's Day of Mexico. It's not Mexican Independence Day. It's a minor regional holiday. So, again, I don't need an excuse to eat Mexican food. I love Mexican food. I like good margaritas. So to me, it's like to, you know, just culturally appropriate a minor Mexican holiday is not necessary for me, but whatever, you know. But a lime marita, now we're talking. Made by Budweiser in a can. Well, we started 15 minutes early, Rusty. So I think it's safe. So you can cuss at quarter to 10 tonight, right? And Patrick said September 19th is Mexico's big holiday. Rusty said he saw my Cinco de Mayo post, but you're all about that socialist May Day stuff because that's what I said. I'm like, yeah, let's put more effort into celebrating May Day, right? Yeah, where were you at, Rusty? Just because we might know the location, but those margaritas don't look familiar to me. But not like I know every single Mexican restaurant in Cleveland, though. That's for sure. Rusty said when he taught in Arizona, a lot of Hispanic students found Cinco de Mayo very important. So, and that becomes important too. So, like St. Patrick's Day, um, well, it is, celebrating the patron saint of Ireland, was bigger in the U.S. for most of its history, or not most of its history, but in American history, it's a bigger holiday here with Irish immigrants because it was a way for them to celebrate their, you know, ethnicity or whatever you want to call it, nationalism. Nationalism sounds wrong, but you know what I mean. So like Boston and Chicago had big St. Patrick's Day before it was that big of a deal in Dublin. So like there is some valid, to that, but most of the people that I know are celebrating Cinco de Mayo are not those people. And I've always celebrated St. Patrick's Day. I like wearing green. I like Irish music, like Irish folk music. Akron was built by Irish immigrants, so there's a big history here in Akron as well, because the canals were built by the Irish, and that's why Akron is a city. Maybe I'm just, maybe it's no different, but I think it is a little bit different. But it all comes and goes. It comes around. So, yeah. Rusty said he went to Taco Tano's in Lakewood, but it was nuts to butts, so we went to El Tango. Oh, I know Taco, obviously Tano's, but I don't know El Tango. Traveling through said Tequila does not agree with him. Yeah. And by the way, I was saying this early before you're on traveling through. I did see everyone's comments on Tuesday, but I was just letting the guys talk. But obviously, Albert is the big tequila fan. He just loves the tequila. So, Rick, you take a hammock with you? Um, I get that. I would never sleep in a hammock though, so that would take up more space than I would want. And there's a lot of places where we wouldn't be able to set it up. So, nothing wrong with a hammock, but I sleep in my tent with my sleeping bag. So the chair is to sit around the fire at night when we're all chatting and drinking a beer, eating breakfast. I'm not going to eat, so it's to sit around the fire, cook breakfast type thing. So two different tools for two different jobs, I guess. So Chris said he likes Mexican beer and food, so any excuse to cook Mexican food you're in. Yeah, and I get that, but I'll do that any day of the week where I don't necessarily do I don't, do Irish food as often, but I'll eat it on St. I always make sure I like get some kind of, St. Patrick's Day special at a bar on St. Patrick's Day. Mexican food I eat whenever I'm in the mood for Mexican food, like all year long. But yeah, again, to each their own. I just don't like the idea that nobody in this country even has a clue what Cinco de Mayo is outside of we're going to get tacos. I think that's the difference, I think there is a true celebration of the Irish. There's a lot of people who don't, but even the people who are just going out to drink green beer and get drunk like have at least some experience with the Irish, right? But this could be me all justifying whatever I do. So Pudgy said South Boston on the 17th is more about solidarity of the Irish working class that's been there since they were dock slaves. Yeah, for sure. Rusty said El Tango wasn't great, but 4 margs for 15 bucks ain't no bullshit. Oh yeah, traveling through says killer Mexican food out there. Yeah, because I think what a lot of the places in like I would guess the Midwest in general, or Great Lakes region, whatever you want to call us now, originally the Midwest. Everyone gets contentious about that now, but yeah, the Great Lakes area, it's like most of ours like L.A. style Mexican food. There's not a lot of very authentic Mexican food around, which I like both. And now, like more authentic Mexican food is becoming more popular around here. But yeah, I can imagine out where you guys are, it's a totally different story. Um, Stoked on Spoke said September 16th is Mexican Independence, usually celebrated the night of the 15th, which is traditionally called El Grito. So I agree, Rusty. Who needs an excuse to get tacos? I mean, that's what I guess that's kind of my point. Mexican food. I mean, this country, half this country, or a quarter of this country was Mexico, and you know, people of Mexican, ethnicity are just it's super common in the United States, no matter where you are. So it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Every city I've ever gone to, almost no matter how small the town is, there's a Mexican restaurant. It's not hard, it's just not to me, it's just not special occasion food. It's just, I'm going to eat Mexican tonight. That's a normal thing to say on almost any time I'm going out to eat. It's like talking with a group of people, we're going out to eat. Mexican food is always in the discussion. 100% of the time, there's a chance we're going to get Mexican food. So, yeah. Muskrat said the breakfast burrito at Taco Tano's is excellent. Yeah, I like everything at Tano's. So, yeah. Stoked on Spoke said when he lived in central Mexico, no one celebrated Cinco de Mayo. He's seen it celebrated more in the U.S. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's to celebrate La Batalla de Pueblo, right? And so, I thought central Mexico, I guess it would be north central Mexico, is where they celebrate it, but it's a victory over, man, it's been so long since I've looked it up, and I'm a pretty big history nerd. But it's a very localized holiday from what I understand. I was in I was near Cabo San Lucas on Cinco de Mayo, and like there was nothing. They weren't doing, and I would guess that's probably even changed, right? Because this is 2007, so I wouldn't even be surprised if now, just because of the tourism there, because um, Cabo was growing. It was 10 years from 10, 15 years past being the fishing village it was, but it was not your Cancun yet either. But from my parents have told me who have been still go back, it's now getting way more touristy. So I'm guessing they probably do put up Corona Cinco de Mayo banners at some bars now that, who knows. Gar said here in California, Mexican food blows away Ohio Mexican food. Yeah, no, I'd have no doubt believing that. And Raymond said Lucky Charms on St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, Tano's is good Mexican food. There's a place over here by my studio. As you guys know, the bridge I ride over in almost every video divides Cuyahoga Falls from Akron. That's the bridge over the Cuyahoga River, a deep gorge. That neighborhood is called North Hill, and North Hill has a really good Mexican restaurant called Rancheros, which is much more authentic than most of your typical, which I like. So I'm not knocking but the LA style Mexican restaurants that we all have in every city, a really good one. And now there's like 3 or 4 food trucks that are just set on blocks around North Hill that I stop at sometimes that are really, really good. Just more like taco stand type thing. But so there's better stuff around now. But like I said, I don't have a problem with the heavy Mexican food you get at a typical Mexican restaurant. I'm just less of a fan of like the margaritas and stuff in most of those because they're just syrupy margaritas. Like I like actual drink margaritas. I usually don't want to get like your syrupy margarita with a little bit of tequila in it. So, Rick was talking about the hammock. He said he rides alone so he doesn't hang until he finds two trees. Which, yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, totally different situation than going to sit around a fire. And I know I can't sleep in a hammock, so I still need my tent and sleeping bag anyways. Yeah, Chris, I think you're right. Wasn't that a yeah, it was a victory over the French Cinco de Mayo, right? Yeah, it was a victory over what's his name? Ah, I can't think of the general, the French general. Anyways, hey, what's up, Eric? Eric says he misses El Canelo. So, El Canelo, there was an old Rax in the valley. If you guys remember Rax, they had the big glass atriums, which at El Canelo was the smoking section. And it was a spot me and Eric used to go and drink margaritas and eat Mexican food and sit at the bar before band practice. And then we would show up to band practice like four margaritas deep. This is back in our early 20s. And the rest of the band, they dealt with it. But, you know, it was a great spot. It really was. They tore that building down, Eric. I don't know if you know this, like about 7 years ago, but the building was still there for a long time, the old racks. Uh, and actually got photos of it as they were tearing it down, and the glass atrium was still there. I wonder if I could actually find those. I wonder if I tagged them racks. We'll see. I did. Hell yeah. Yeah, so this is what was left of Racks, but also it was our favorite Mexican restaurant in town. Right, this is right down by the towpath now in the Cuyahoga Valley. But yeah, I had a film camera with me and I pulled over. This is on, let's see, Pentax K1000 with Kodak Ektar 100. Oh, and I developed this myself with C41 Jobo kit. So yeah, so there it is, Eric. Our old smoking section there. Patrick said a good high school friend of his lives in suburban Cleveland somewhere and has managed to find a bunch of legit Mexican restaurants. And Chris said, love Mexico City, worth the trip. Mexico City's bucket list for me. Like I said, as a history nerd, and, Mexico City is just built on, Tenochtitlan. So I would love to see it. And Erin's been there. My girlfriend has been to Mexico City and thought it was really cool. I would love to go to Mexico City. But Urbana has a new Mexican place called Abuelas. And Stokes said it was a victory over the French, Cinco de Mayo. So, Muskrat. Oh, yeah, the high level bridge when you could see through it. I don't know if it's before my time, but I don't remember before they had paved over the high level bridge. But Rick, who I bought the studio from, told me about that. How he remembers going over and being able to look down at the Cuyahoga River. But hey, what's up, Gabriel? I do have my Viscount Aerospace. Yep. I haven't ridden it yet this year. I usually start to get it out in the summer because I have it pretty much set up almost all not all original. I tore it completely down and rebuilt it, but it's got like original drivetrain and original bars and brakes and all that kind of stuff. So definitely like a summer bike. Uh, Still fast, still fun to ride. I love it, but just don't ride as much because I don't ride slammed road bikes that much anymore. But yeah, I'll get it out. I'll make a video. I'll make another. I'll definitely get it out and do another at least one ride video this summer with the Viscount. It's the bike that really. I mean, it was a big deal to me when I got it, and so it's still really sentimental. And I think it's just a cool piece of history. Those bikes. Viscount is just a strange, strange British brand. For anyone who doesn't know, cast aluminum fork. But yeah. Oh yeah, Rick, you did have Tano's the night before the industrial gravel ride when we got completely smashed waiting for you to show up out there. Yeah. No, Rick came. Yeah, so Muskrat. Yeah, Rick came out when we did the group ride last year, and the night before, JMZ uh, was in town. We rode out. We met up with Jay Dandy, and we just started drinking strong beers from Tonto's. They had a hoof-hearted triple IPA, and we were just putting away one after another. And then Rick said he was on his way. He parked here at the studio and rode out. By the time Rick got out there, we were all just smashed, like absolutely smashed. So it, see you. Pull up, yeah, this is my Viscount before I redid it, and it's completely in the way I bought it. Someone had the guy I bought it had like the cable zip tied, but I've since bought like the metal clamps and everything to uh, set it a little more original. Put some red cloth bar tape on it. You know, the chain ring is the coolest thing about the Viscount. So I love that. Uh, oh yeah, and the rear derailleur is ruined, so I just have a cheap mountain derailleur on there. So I guess I changed that out. But now I also have a leather brook saddle on there and stuff. Do I have any photos of the way I have it? Oh, that's the way it's set up now, but this is a film photo. I think it's on Tri-X, right? Canon QL17 G3 with expired Kodak T-Max 400, developed in HC 110. But yeah, that's the way it looks now. Yeah, one of those narrow brook saddles. And the reason I have the bottle cages is there's no brazons on this bike for bottles. Yeah, that's what it looks like now. Some red velvet orange cable housings and some twine, hemp twine for the yeah, sweet bike. Oh, Jay Dandy, didn't you wreck leaving Tonto's? Didn't you say you were buzzed and ran over like a extension cord or something and go down that night? Oh yeah, two different Ricks. The Rick I bought my building from, and then Rick Urbanowski. Oh no, Rick. The Jobo was just who made the C41 kit. It was all by hand developing. Um, it wasn't one of the automated things, but do I like the narrow Brooks over the wide? No, I only like that Brooks saddle on the Viscount because the bike is kind of slammed. So if you're in a very forward position, I like that narrow Brooks. It's not a Swallow. It's an older one, but it's like a Swallow. If you look at a Brooks Swallow, that's about the shape of it. No, I like the B17 way more for everyday riding. That narrow one only works on a slammed bike, and actually, that's the only time I'll usually wear some kind of padded something with like what do you call it, a chamois. Um, on normal Brooks saddle bikes, I never like on my B17s. I never wear anything padded or any kind of chamois. When I ride the Viscount, I sometimes will if it's going to be a really long ride. But yeah, it needs to be a those really narrow ones, as far as I'm concerned, have to be for a bike where you have a pretty considerable drop down to the handlebars. Uh, and though that Viscount has super deep drops, as you probably could tell from that photo. Um, did I have one where Yeah, look at those are like the biggest drop bars, like the biggest drop and drop bars like of all time. They're crazy. Whoops, wrong button. Pudgy said, Pudgy said Tim likes the B-17 and never stops talking about it ever. Yeah, 100% true. I just yeah, like I know some people are vegan, so leather is not gonna work for them. But yeah, I love the B-17. Arthur, what's up? He said, enjoyed the Rust Belt ride. Are there any decent 27-inch gravel tires, or would you be better off converting to 700C? There are. Gravel King makes 27s. What else have I had in tour rides? Continental makes some 27s. Depends on what millimeter wide are you going. You know, obviously you're always going to have more these days. Way more options with 700C, but there are 27-inch gravel tires out there. Trying to think of what else I have for 27s. But I don't have any 27 bikes that could take more than a 38 millimeter tire. So I don't know if you get into like true like modern gravel bike sizing, what the options would be out there. Yeah, Patrick said he tried the Brooks Swift, but kind of rough on the nethers for sure. Yeah. Jay Dandy, you can't be sad with Garth in the room. Muskrat asked how the knockoff Brooks is on the Marin. So the Marin actually, I put up my French saddle on there, so it's not a knockoff Brooks. So the saddle I have on the Marin is an Ideale, if that's how you pronounce it. It looks like ideal with an E on the end. But so that's a true a brand that's just as legit as Brooks or was. That's French. And the shape is almost identical. Um, I bought that used and it's very dried out, and I've been putting a lot of proofite on it, trying to slowly soften it up. And it's someone had over, I, whether the person who I bought it from had, someone's over tightened it, but I really like it, and I think it's going to break in really well eventually. The knockoff Brooks is the one I put on that Peugeot build. What's the name of that? Persons, the Persons. And that bike I've only ridden 3 times, and I think that saddle is going to completely fall apart. So the knockoff Brooks, I think, is probably not a good buy. It's a bike that I'm not going to ride very often, so we'll see how it lasts. But yeah, two different things. The Ideale, I think, it's the real deal. It's basically just it's just an old leather saddle that's made by a French company, whereas that Persons is a modern saddle made in India that I do not think is going to. It looks as good as a Brooks, and I do not think it's going to hold up very well. So, oh, what time is it? I got to get to bed. It's already 10:20. So, yeah, like I said, I'm setting my alarm for 6 a.m. I only have to be coherent for about 2 hours, and then if I need to take a nap when I get home, I can. But I guess I don't. I know some people get up early. I'm just not an early bird. So for me, you know, at this point in my life, 6 a.m. is very, very early. So Patrick said he got one of the person saddles and it's crap. Yeah. Like I said, for a bike I'm only going to ride lightly, we'll see. And I might even sell that bike. I really bought it for the looks and build it up on the stream for fun. So, Patrick, going to sell your Swift and your almost unused persons. So, and Rick's bringing up JD Vance again. Yeah. Yeah, the Marin, I'm going to make a. So, I hope I have time this weekend, maybe even tomorrow, but I've got a couple professional video projects that are taking precedent. Um, one that supports the Ohio and Erie Canalway, so a cool project to do. But I'm hoping to get a video about the Marin out for Monday. We'll see. But so But I'll tell you guys right now, the Marin is riding way better than I expected. You know, to do the 90s drop bar conversion, you never know how it's going to handle. Everything feels pretty good. So I've got about 60 miles in on it. So going to ride it a little bit this weekend, film it a little more, and then I'll have even a better idea. But yeah, I rode it with Funny Brad and Large Marge, and we did off-road, on-road, and liked it. And I'll say this in the video when I make it, but when Russ was saying how 26 feels slow to him, 26-inch wheels, I don't notice it, but I'm guessing he's already running 650B with wide tires, whereas my 700C bikes, I max out at 42. So maybe I'm just not noticing it as much. But yeah, I'll get into all that and talk about that more as we go. So, oh, Chris, you have a 5 a.m. start. Yeah, see, I don't have to do that. But yeah, looking forward to seeing everyone next weekend. Right now, it doesn't look like my schedule has anything that would make it so I can't stream next week. So hopefully we'll be streaming next week and all that. But yeah, going to sign off, going to go to bed, get up early, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Jared Poland, FrozenNosePhoto.com.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is not understand.
Fitzwater Photo.